I have a serious problem. It's literally, without being dramatic, it is literally endangering my life. And I don't know what to do, and I need to ask for serious advice. I don't need a bunch of silly, it gets better bumper sticker stuff. I need real advice, especially from people who know how to handle abusive people. My ex, uh, in order to manipulate me, no. In order to force me to endure her abuse, psychological abuse, and physical abuse, places me in positions where I am manipulated into thinking that she respects me and that she acknowledges that my life is difficult and that she is actually trying to help. But what she is really doing is basically blackmailing me so that I do not have the right to object when she becomes abusive. She came to Albuquerque, I don't know when, months ago, back when it was warm weather, and got me in the car and began berating me for things that either I did not do or things that I cannot help. For instance, my poverty. "Aw, you'll never pay me back for the truck. I know that." I've been consistently paying her back. I saved the money for 3 months because she told me there was a job in Gallup at her radio station and that I would probably get the job, and I scrambled around and started packing for the job, and people sent me money so I could afford to move to Gallup for the job, and then she gave the job to somebody else. So I held back my truck payments for 3 months as part of the moving expenses because although people sent money, it wasn't nearly enough for like deposits on utilities and gas money to get out there and hiring somebody to help me. And um, so I held back my payments for 3 months, and then, "Oh, I know you're never going to pay me back." I'd already paid it back. When I realized I hadn't gotten a job, I paid her the whole 3 months worth the day after I knew I didn't have the job. Well, because of my brain injuries, it's hard for me to remember things, and because of how chaotic my life is because of my circumstances, that doesn't help either. Now, I haven't had a vehicle in a very long time, and it occurred to me recently that it's cold weather and perhaps it's getting close to time for me to have to register the vehicle. And I keep forgetting to go out and look at the little sticker on the license plate to see when I have to register the vehicle. I was supposed to register it back in November. Now, the law here is that I can't register the vehicle unless I have insurance. She was paying the insurance on the truck, and I don't know if she still is or not, because it only cost her $30 a year as a second vehicle rather than me paying $300 every 6 months, which I can't possibly afford. So I don't know if the vehicle is insured, and I can't register it unless it is. And I'm sure she's just sitting there like a fat, juicy spider waiting for me to contact her. Part of the reason I didn't know the vehicle needed to the renewal was because she agreed to let me accept mail at her house because there is no door-to-door mail delivery in this town, and local residents can have local mailboxes, but I'm not considered a permanent resident because I live in an RV park, and it costs money to rent a mailbox. I think it's $20 for 6 months. And living like I do, $20 is a lot of money. So I was having my mail sent general delivery to this town, but they changed the policy and said no, I couldn't do that. So she agreed I could have my mail sent to her because I don't get that much mail. Well, in that last trip to Albuquerque, she was screaming and yelling that she was still getting mail at her house that was for me. And it was from Department of Human Services, and she Oh my God, she was holding that hostage and frightening me that telling me that I was going to lose my benefits and stuff. And I explained to her in the car, I said, I put in a change of address. It's not my fault that the postal service is still sending the mail to you. It's not my fault. But she was very abusive and punishing me because she'd received mail at her house. Now, mind you, this wasn't costing her anything. I I think in the 6 months that we were doing that, I think she got 3 pieces of mail from me, and all she had to do was scan them and email them to me as attachments. But all of a sudden, that was a big burden on her, you know? So she was very abusive the last time in the vehicle. And I said, look, let's just do, I've been doing some volunteer work for that radio station, adminning their Facebook page and keeping a blog for them. And I said, look, unless it's work related, please don't contact me again. And she sent me a message via Facebook. I see she'd been monitoring my activity on Facebook. And so I unfriended her so she wouldn't know what my personal life was about, because she'd sent me an email with the subject line, I think you're overreacting. Well, that's not what I asked. I asked for her to keep it business only. Any subject line from her should have been, I apologize, I was rude and disrespectful, not, I think you're overreacting. So now I'm in this crisis where I've got to go figure out how to register the vehicle and how to find out if I have insurance. And I'm really scared because I've been driving this vehicle around November, December, January, 3 months. It's going on 4 months now that I've been driving the vehicle illegally. And next month I have to drive to Albuquerque. So I need to get this sorted out. And I could use some advice on how to talk to her or communicate with her, because this is all about holding me hostage so that I have to take her abuse. This is a person who punched me in the head so hard that when I'd hold a telephone receiver to my head and I'd hear the ringing on the other end, the vibration in my head would cause my eyes to jitter. Um, Abandoned me with a apartment lease, still with months left on it. The apartment lease was $650 a month, and my income was only 700. Um, Agreed. There was this truck that I was going to buy from her before. I had to move all the way out to Fort Sumner, and the woman that I was going to move in with, the plans fell through because basically she cheated me. And Rachel drove I had a friend drive her all the way out there, drove the truck all the way back to Albuquerque, leaving me stranded out there. Nearest grocery, 60 miles round trip, and no public transportation. And she parked the car in Albuquerque and let it get covered with graffiti, and then she swapped it for a rich people car. I can't read, a Jaguar, an old beat up Jaguar that the engine finally blew up in one day when she had me in the car, and I was, what, 100 miles from here, 100 miles from my home. So she's irrational and cold and cruel and calculating, and I've got to deal with her, and I don't know how. And I don't want to be this upset at 9:30 at night because I'm afraid I won't be able to get any sleep. So if people have any good ideas, I would appreciate it. Thank you.